Batman Forever was published by Acclaim Entertainment and released for the PlayStation 1 back in 1996. This game did get releases on other consoles, mainly likes of Sega Saturn, Windows PC, and this is a port of the popular arcade game that was released around that time. And this game essentially is a 2D styled beat 'em up game that you would remember from games the likes of the Streets of Rage series on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, or even the Final Fight series on the likes of the Super Nintendo and other consoles, as it uses a very similar play style, and you have access to 2-player modes so that you can play with your friends, where you can go through the campaign so that you can have fun with your friends, taking out enemies and using different move styles and special moves while fighting bosses at the end of each level. And in this game you have the choice of playing between both Batman and Robin to play through the campaign. And like a lot of these games, the gameplay has you going through various staged type levels that you just move ideally from left to right, and you have to eliminate waves of enemies as you progress through each stage. And on most stages you will also fight a boss at the end of all of the waves at the end of each level. The game itself got very mixed reviews at launch on all of the consoles, mainly stating that even though the ports were good versions of the arcade game, there were certain elements that were lacking that weren't really there as such compared to the popular arcade title. It just seemed to be lacking in some areas in terms of level design, and one of the most criticised points, especially on the console versions, being the predictable level design, but also the gloomy and dark style graphics, which I will admit myself does kind of distract you when you're playing the game, because it's very difficult at times to see what's really going on, as it is very dark, but then there's also a lot of flash and lighting effects, and it can leave for very distracting elements on the screen, so you're not really sure of what's going on at the same time. One of the other main key flaws with the game that I found, even from personally playing it myself, is that, like with other beat 'em up games, but it's not as refined as the likes of Streets of Rage or Final Fight, is that when enemies gang up on you, they can literally just keep punching the hell out of you and kicking you, and then you can't even counteract it, and they can literally wipe out your health bar in a matter of only a couple of seconds, and you have to lose a life in order to be able to continue. So you can have your lives wiped out very quickly, so you have to make sure that you take out enemies as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now you do have an array of different move sets and skills that you can use, even with different abilities, that allow you to take out multiple enemies at a time. Plus you can interact with different types of elements within the environment that can also allow you to destroy multiple enemies, especially within groups, and depending on the type of characters, they will have their own special moves that can take out other types of enemies also. Like, the gameplay is very fast paced, it is very frantic, even the moves of the characters are really fast, but the enemies move just as fast as you, so they can quickly gang up on you if you're not careful, and they can literally destroy you, so you do have to be mindful of that. But unlike the types of the pixelated characters or cartoonish type of characters that you would see in games like Final Fight and Streets of Rage, Batman Forever opts for more 2D digitized characters that would be more familiar with the likes of Mortal Kombat and other fighting games like it. But it doesn't take away from the overall gameplay and style, it's just not as well refined as a lot of those games as I've mentioned, but it is worth the playthrough. I do remember playing this myself back years ago. I remember a cousin of mine had managed to get hold of it, and I remember being down at his house one day and he happened to have it, and we played it for a bit, but I will be honest, I struggled to even know what was going on even back then, and even playing it recently, even recording this video, I still found it a bit of a struggle. It took a while to really get a feel for the game so that I could actually get any sort of a good playthrough on the game. But even at that, it's one of those games that, even though I love beat 'em up games, I still always found it to be a struggle to really get ahead in the game. I was never able to get beyond the first couple of levels without losing all of my lives, and even now it's still the same, as it can be very difficult, and a lot of the spammy tactics that the computer AI uses can literally just wipe out your lives almost instantly, so it can leave you just leaving feeling very frustrated, and you'd nearly quickly just move on to something else. That was one of the main drawbacks I found with the game personally. But I do know that for people that do love beat 'em ups, there is a lot of people out there, because even if you're a fan of Batman, a lot of people do genuinely like this game because they like the arcade version. It's just a pity that the ports didn't have the same effect, but they're still playable to their own degree. It really just depends on the people that are playing it and if you can get the most out of it. Some people will be more skilled at these type of games more so than others. I usually wouldn't be that great with this game, but I used to play more the likes of Streets of Rage on the Mega Drive, and I absolutely loved those games. games, and I always considered myself to be quite decent at them, but not so much with this game, as it is definitely a lot different. It's so fast paced that sometimes it moves that fast. It's very, very hard to keep up with all of the action that's going on, and because there's so many distracting elements, your character's getting wiped out, and sometimes you can barely even see what's going on with your character until you realise he's lost a life. So that in itself can also be very frustrating. But I would love to know your thoughts of Batman Forever for the PlayStation, if you have played it yourself, and if so, what do you think of it? Do you enjoy these type of beat 'em up games, and did you enjoy playing them back in the day, or maybe not so much? I'd love to hear what stories you have about the game, so be sure to share them down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more types of videos on other beat 'em ups released on the PlayStation, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be updated when future videos are released. And again, if you would like to see videos on similar type of games that were released on the system, then be sure to check out the videos here on screen to see more of those games in action. So until next time, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.